with Ashley. Welcome to Magic Vlogs. Today I am off of work and I did a lot of cleaning today because our inspections are about to start, and I just wanted to give you guys like a little update video. So this one's not as like awesome as last week's video with Danny's birthday and everything. I just wanted to kind of give you guys the good, the bad, and some updates about my program so far, how I'm liking it, how I'm adjusting to being in Florida, being away from Danny and Allie and Angie and all my friends and Jackson. So I was just gonna check in with you guys and kind of go over like some of the things I really like about this, some of the things that I kind of need to overcome soon in order to enjoy my program better, and just some like interesting little updates. So I actually have my notebook here today so that I can actually remember everything that I wanted to talk about. And so I think in order for this video to not end on a bad note, I'm gonna do all of my complaining first. And for those of you watching this video, I want you to know I am enjoying myself. It's been a little hard adjusting, and I kind of predicted that like my first couple weeks I would be like, oh my god, this is amazing, and then like right around the month period, which is where we're at right now, would kind of be like, that's when the obstacles start, and you know, some of the uncertainty and stuff like that. So I just want you to know I am enjoying myself. I am having fun. I am aware that this has been something I've wanted for a while, but I just wanted to go over like some of my complaints and get it off my chest. So the first thing I'm gonna complain about is stupid, because I've always dealt with this in like the jobs I worked throughout college, but the schedule is so sporadic. Like one day it's a 12-hour shift, 11 to 11. The next day I go in at 6 p.m. and leave at 1:15. The next day I go in at 2 p.m. and leave at 1:16 or 1:15. It's like all over the place. So I'm tired all the time. Another thing, closing. Oh my god. Okay. So when I was training, they told us we were going to be closing a lot, and they trained us for closing. And there are certain stations, I don't want to like waste too much time going into it, but basically there are certain stations you close, and when we were training we had extra help because it was all like 3 of us trained together, so the 3 of us and our 2 trainers would close the station. So I'm like, okay, this is cool, like it's not that bad. But closing, there's this one specific station that I have such a hard time closing, because I'm somebody who like, most people start closing before the official time that they're supposed to. They call it pre-closing, like technically that's what you're supposed to do, but I have such a hard time like doing that, I guess, because I don't want to have to redo stuff over again if like if there's a mess, and I don't like it when guests ask me like, oh, are you closed, or like they feel bad because they see me cleaning and then they need something, you know, that kind of thing. So like the past couple of weeks I've just had such a hard time with closing because I always end up leaving an hour or sometimes 2 hours later than my shift is supposed to end because I take longer to close. And then our leaders and coordinators actually come and walk after we close. So they come through, they like wash their hands and dry them and then touch everything to make sure everything's sticky. Like it's like a white glove test, I swear. It's like intense. So that stresses me out too, because I don't like it when they're walking and they're like, oh, wipe this down again, or oh, do this. So on top of not wanting to start closing early, I've always been bad about criticism, and I realize like they're probably kind of required to say at least a couple things are wrong because nothing's perfect, but it like eats at me and kills my soul, and I can't do it. So on top of that, I try to get it clean really well and thoroughly the first time so that they don't have to say anything. So that has been like a source of mental breakdowns, because when I take too long to close, okay, don't get me wrong, nobody has like said anything mean to me, like leaders haven't said anything mean to me or anything like that. They just like, I just feel bad and it stresses me out, and it's been a source of mental breakdowns and I hate it. So that has been a thing that I need to learn to conquer, and we'll get back to that later in the good stuff. Oh, another thing, standing up for myself. This is kind of somewhere between good and bad. I have this coworker, not trying to throw shade, I'm not mad at them, like, nothing like that, it's just something I wanted to express. So their communication style, going back to being criticizing, their communication style seemed very critical to me, like when they spoke to me, and the way they spoke to me made me feel like they thought I was stupid. And so I didn't say anything for a couple of weeks, and then finally, like, we were busy, I was doing things that I thought were important, I was helping guests, you know, they asked for water, I gave them water, that kind of thing. And they said a couple things to me, like, it was 3 things in the span of 15 minutes or something like that. So I was finally like, hey, please stop. I've been here for 15 minutes and you've yelled at me the whole time. And I tried to respectfully ask them to stop, and they've been, like, ignoring me and kind of giving me the cold shoulder ever since. And that's just difficult for me because I don't want to apologize to them, because I do feel like I had the right to stand up for myself, and I did it as respectfully as I knew how. And I've been in a pattern before where people have treated me like I was less than them, or like they were smarter than me, or I was inferior, and I would be upset, and then they would be upset that I was upset, and then I would apologize to them even though they were the ones doing something wrong in the first place. Like, I've had that happen in my life before, so I didn't want to fall into the same pattern again. So that's a source of frustration, because I do really like this coworker, and I think this coworker is good at what they do, and I think that they are nice. So it just kind of sucks that, like, that relationship seems to have, like, fallen apart before it ever started, because I personally needed to stand up for myself. So there's that. And then, oh my god, I hate when I go visit Magic Kingdom. This is so stupid and first world problems, but I hate that I have to take the monorail or the ferry to get into Magic Kingdom. I wish I could just park and walk into the park like all the other parks, because Magic Kingdom is my favorite, but, like, some days I'll have off and I'll be like, oh, maybe I'll go to Magic Kingdom for a couple hours, and then I'm like, no, because I don't want to get on the stupid ferry or the stupid monorail, I just want to walk in, and then I end up not going. Like tonight, I was thinking about going for the fireworks, and I'm like, I don't want to deal with waiting in line for the monorail or waiting in line for the ferry and sitting there around all the people and all of that. And so y'all, if there's a secret parking lot somewhere, or like a way to bypass the monorail and ferry, let me know, because for some reason I just don't like those anymore. When I was first visiting the parks before my program, I thought it was so magical, because it's like you're being transported into the Magic Kingdom, and like I loved it so much, but now it's just like kind of inconvenient and annoying, and I hate it. I've been drinking way too much coffee. That's a bad. If you're on this program, you know, sporadic schedule, late nights, and you've already got a coffee problem, be prepared for it to be worse, because we ran out of coffee, but we have a lot of espresso left, so I've been drinking actual espresso like it's coffee, and that's not good. So I'm not gonna fix it. I'm not gonna stop drinking coffee, because I need it, and it keeps me in a good mood, and it keeps me, like, gives me the ability to create magic and to be happy and positive at work, so I'm gonna keep drinking it, but yeah, that's a problem. Okay, and these last two are like my 2 biggest frustrations, so I'll start with the smaller one, working in my sleep. It hasn't been that bad because I've been making an effort to meditate or watch TV before I go to bed, but if I come home after a long night and go right to bed, I spend all night dreaming about work, waking up, looking for guests, looking for toppings, looking for drinks, looking for food. Like, I spend the entire night waking up every so often, like 5 to 10 times in one night, waking up, looking for stuff, getting frustrated, going back to sleep, and repeating the cycle, and it is so annoying. And if you guys are doing that, I found that, like I said, meditation or sitting and like watching 20 minutes of TV before you go to bed just to take your mind off work, it really helps. But it's like stressful, because I don't want to work for 12 hours and then spend the next 7 hours working in my sleep and then have to go work some more. It's annoying. So that's been really frustrating, and like I wake up super anxious and nervous and like stressed out, and it just doesn't make for a good night's rest. But hopefully, like, as I get used to the program and I stop stressing about everything so much and I stop being so hard on myself about closing and stuff, hopefully that makes it better. And then my last complaint is positive feedback. I don't know what the issue is. I don't know, like, if it's just we're really busy so it gets overlooked. I don't know. But I am somebody who, at my old place of work, at Little Piggly Wiggly, they were really good about giving positive feedback. Like, they would tell you when you needed to fix something. They would tell you, like, they would remind you, like, oh, make sure you interact with all the customers. Make sure you do this. But they would also be like, hey, Ashley, you're really good with customers, and I appreciate that. Or, hey, Ashley, you're really good at fronting aisle 3. Good job. Or, you know, they just, like, I'm used to receiving positive feedback, and I haven't received any, and I know it's not because I'm doing a bad job, because, like, okay, this is so frustrating, because I was working, and I was busy, but I overheard, and, like, saw out of the corner of my eye, a guest had asked for a manager, and was complimenting me to that manager. Like, I didn't really interact with them, because that's awkward, and, like, I'm bad at taking compliments. And I realize I'm sitting here complaining about not being complimented, but, like, in the moment with a guest, like, I don't know how to respond to that. So a guest had went out of their way to ask for a manager to say I was doing a good job, and I showed no indication of hearing it. Like, they pointed at me and everything. I avoided eye contact. I just saw it out of the corner of my eye, and I heard them talking. And the manager, that was like 2 weeks ago, and nobody said anything to me. Nobody. Not a single person has said a word to me about it. Or, like I just, like, have witnessed them walk by as I'm doing something, like playing trivia with the guests while they're waiting on their food. Or, like, they've walked by while, like, I felt like I was doing a really good job and haven't said anything. But, like, if I'm closing too slowly, then they don't mind saying something. Or if I, like, I've been told to interact with the guests more multiple times, but, like, I always interact with a guest, so I don't really understand. Like, I think that's just generalized, like, they're telling everybody that, but it's really frustrating when, like, I can be told everything I'm doing wrong, or everything that they even assume I'm doing wrong, but not what I'm doing right. I think that would help a lot, like, with me being hard on myself. But it happens. Like, this isn't this isn't kindergarten. Yeah, all I'm saying is, like, I miss the positive feedback, but I'll get used to not getting it. It's fine. I'll just know in my heart that I'm doing a good job when my guests smile at me and laugh at my stupid jokes. Alright. Now the good. Alright. So I love seeing first timers. When people have their little first time button, it makes me emotional, because I remember I was, like, so excited on my first time, and so I always like to go out on my way and, like, maybe give them a slushie or a Mickey straw, or just say, like, happy first time and smile at them, ask them, like, what their favorite part is so far, like, all of that stuff. It's really nice. Also, Cosmic Rays has a birthday song, and I haven't learned it yet because it's, like, beyond extra and exciting, and there's, like, clapping and yelling and guest interaction, and I love it so much. And every time the birthday song happens, it, like, gives me a boost of energy. Same goes, I forgot to put this in my list, a lot of times when I go on my break, I get to watch the Magic Kingdom fireworks. My break, because I work mostly nights, like evenings, nights, my break usually happens right around the same time as Happily Ever After, so a lot of times I get to watch the fireworks from backstage, and that always gives me, like, a boost of energy. And then if not, I get to hear the music inside, and it, like, everybody flocks to the windows to watch it, and it's really cool. I really enjoy those little things that, like, remind me that I'm in Magic Kingdom and I'm at Disney World, and, like, what we're doing can be kind of stressful and can feel like fast food and all of that, but we're doing so much more, and I'm really glad that I have these little things to remind me of that throughout the day. I like to play games with the guests. I mentioned during my rant earlier, so sometimes food takes a little longer, sometimes there's someone training in the kitchen, sometimes they just have to make some stuff fresh. Like, they always make it fresh, so sometimes there's waiting. Like, they make it in bulk, but they also don't let hamburgers sit there for 30 minutes, you know? So sometimes the food takes a little longer than what, you know, how long people want to wait. So I like to, if it starts taking longer than, like, 5 minutes, I like to play games with the guests, so I like to do trivia. I like to have them describe movies and I guess it. If I'm playing with kids, I get a couple wrong because I always think that's really funny. I like to try and think of movies and have the guests answer. Like, it's really fun. Usually, like, for the first 5 minutes, I'll just, what's your favorite ride? What's your favorite character? Your favorite movie? Like, what have you done today? That kind of thing. But once I kind of run out of those, I like to start playing games. And it's really cool because you watch, like, that face you get when you're a little hangry and you're at a park. And usually when people are at the parks, like, I know I wait until I'm starving to death before I will, like, stop getting on rides and meeting characters and go get food. So, like, like, they get that face and, like, their eyes are unfocused and, like, they're not necessarily, like, mean people or rude people, but they're, like, in that moment maybe because they're hungry. And I just like to see that face disappear and, like, they get smiles, they think it's funny, they know what I'm trying to do and they appreciate it. Like, I haven't had just a horrible guest yet, knock on wood, but I just like to put in extra effort to avoid the mad guests and let them know, like, hey, here's a slushie, I know you're hungry and you've been waiting for a while, or hey, like, I'm not just gonna stand here and stare at you being hungry. Let me play a game with you. Let me remind you where you're at, and we can get through this together. It's really fun. It's really rewarding to change those moods. Speaking of which, I love making magic. I had somebody come in. He was actually a cast member too, but he was there with his friends, and I like to ask, are you celebrating anything? And he was like, well, she doesn't know it, but my friend is proposing to his girlfriend today. And so I got them, like, I made a slushie and put 2 little Mickey straws in it for them. And almost cried because who doesn't want to get proposed to at Disney World? Like, that's so exciting. And, like, just little things like that. There was one family who my job for, like, 3 hours was just going around in circles picking up trays. And, like, the restaurant wasn't actually that busy at the time, so I had run out of trays, so I was just kind of slowly going, and one of the little boys was like, trash girl! Like, he thought I was taking the trash, he was excited about it. To each his own. So I walked over and I started talking to them, and, like, we had a good 15-minute long conversation. And I was like, oh, do you like ice cream? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, do you like strawberry lemonade? And he was like, yeah. So I went and got him and his sister slushies. And, like, they were just all so appreciative of it. Like, I was having a bad day. And a lot of times when I have bad days, I like to just stop and pick a family and talk to them because it usually makes me better. They were so appreciative, and they started calling me princess. And so instead of trash girl, every time I passed by after that, they're like, there's a princess. And then, like, as they were leaving, they actually came up to me, and the little boy gave me a hug, and, like, the mom was telling me how I made their night and how happy they were, and, like, they were asking if I was a princess and all of that stuff. So that was really cool, and, like, I cried a little bit. And I really like moments like that, because for a lot of families, when you make magic for them, they make magic for you, and it just, like, it makes my heart grow 6 sizes. All of my coworkers are pretty sweet. Like, they're funny. We get through this together. Like, we all have our moments because it is high stress. Like, sometimes there are little spats or whatever, but we all have each other's backs, and that's really cool. I'm glad, like, my coworkers seem to care about me, and I really care about them. And, like, we've already started bonding and, like, just getting through the busy days together. My roommates are amazing. I love my roommates. They're awesome. Like, I hope maybe I can do, like, a get to know my roommates video. It's just hard because we all have different sporadic schedules. Obviously, I love the unlimited Disney. I could turn this camera off and go to a park right now, no problem. Like, that's really cool. I went to the Halloween party the other night, and I was gonna vlog it, but I didn't want to ruin any surprises for anybody who wants to go. I think that like, there were a lot of surprises there I didn't know about, and that makes it even more special. So I didn't want to be filming the whole time. If I go again, I'll think about it, but that's just something you have to experience on your own, and it's really cool. And if you go to the Halloween party, you are going to love it, and I strongly recommend it. I also get to wear space buns at work. I'm not wearing them right now, but I get to put my hair in little space buns. which like not everybody can do at their location. That's my favorite thing to do, so that's pretty cool. And then some updates for you guys. I have put in an application for Spring Advantage. I got my phone interview scheduled, but it seems, according to other people, that they're gonna call and be like, hey, you have to put in an application to extend, not for a new program. So I don't really know what's gonna happen with that. It kind of sucks a little bit because I like updated my resume and like put a lot of effort into making it even better so that maybe I could get like a different role, just because I'd like to experience other roles throughout the park, but we'll see how that goes. That's on Thursday. We had a fire drill at work the other day. That was pretty exciting. I walked into the break room and it was completely empty, which was unusual, but I was like, maybe they all went to the other break room? I don't know. And so I sat down on the couch in the break room, and then somebody came in and was like, yeah, you have to go in the hall with everybody else. And then I walked out and there's like just a huge group of people that I didn't even see. So we had to stay down there until the fire marshal cleared the building. There was nothing wrong. One of our fire alarms just decided to go off. And then we had to go back up and throw away all the food and make fresh food and fresh drinks and all of that. So that was exciting. It was kind of fun to be able to, like, because we're so busy, we don't have a lot of time to interact with our coworkers. So it was kind of nice to be able to just like interact with them, you know? What else? There was a guest emergency. I don't want to violate any privacy or anything, but somebody had an emergency, and so we had to, because other guests were like concerned and wanted to look and see what was going on and get involved, we actually had to form like a barrier between the guest who was having an emergency and the other guests and like keep them moving, because they all wanted to gather around. And the guest is fine, everything's fine, like they're taken care of, they're good, they're safe, everything worked out fine. But it was kind of scary and then just like a little stressful because we had to stand there and like keep people from looking at her. So that was kind of like excitement, but in like a not so good way. Oh, I'm starting to get used to closing. I mentioned earlier in my rant that closing was really stressful for me. Last night I closed my Nemesis station and I closed it on time and I left 2 minutes early. So, with minimal help. Like, I did have help from one of my coworkers and I love her, but I didn't have to have somebody like help me do half of it at 2 a.m. like I did last time I closed my Nemesis station. So I'm really glad about that. And oh, last update. So for Halloween, I will be doing a ghost tour of Magic Kingdom and talking about all the spots in Magic Kingdom that are allegedly haunted. Now, I'm having some trouble with misinformation because I compiled a list, but it turns out some of the stuff in that list, when people do articles about Disney World and Disneyland, a lot of times they get Disney World and Disneyland confused. So if you guys watching this have any, maybe you're a cast member and you've experienced something, or you're just a Disney fanatic and you happen to know something, if you know about any Disney World haunts in Magic Kingdom, let me know and I will personally go there and we'll talk about some of that stuff. So that's really cool. So that's gonna be the Halloween video. I'm gonna try to upload that on Halloween if I can. I know that this video is coming at you a little late. I've been busy and stressed a little bit, so, and like having a hard time thinking of content ideas, but I'm really excited about that video, and I hope you guys enjoyed our little chat today, and I hope you guys have a very magical day. Bye.